Alright, hello everyone, welcome to my first video. I want to go ahead and get into this. I've made this intro 1,000 times, so we're just gonna get right into it. So, I decided to make this video because I love a debate. I honestly do. It's part of my nature, I guess. And I've had a lot of debates with random people to people I know, personally. And I hear a lot of misconceptions and a general lack of knowledge of the subject. So I wanted to make this video for anyone out there who wants to learn about evolution. I'm going to, this video is only about proving evolution. I will not go over abiogenesis. If you don't know, abiogenesis is the parent or idea that they have an explanation about how life originated. I will not go into that because evolution does not tell you how life originated. It tells you how life progressed from its origin to now. I will not discuss cosmic evolution. And I will not discuss the age of the universe because that can be, not universe, the Earth. That can be an entirely separate video. I think we should know going into this that the Earth is old. According to evolution, I think it's around 4.6 billion years of age. So, according to modern science, 4.6 billion years old. So, let's go ahead and get right into the video. Let's go. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so let's begin. I want to start off by addressing a common idea found in a lot of creationist groups in online. You can find this online and even in some debates, even to say with Kent Hovind. You can look him up if you don't know who he is. But they seem to say that evolution is not science. It is religion in itself. It is because it takes blind faith. But here, let's run through these. So, in the scientific method, you ask a question, you do research, and then you construct a hypothesis. You test an experiment. You test your hypothesis with an experiment. You analyze results and you draw conclusions. If the hypothesis is true, you report your results. If the hypothesis is false, you do it all over again. So, evolution does follow these steps. Evolution is observable. We can observe evidence that demonstrates that evolution took place. And that's what I'm going to be going over. You can test certain things in evolution with an experiment. And in science it is falsifiable. There are evidences, if they existed, that could disprove it, but they don't. That's why it's accepted as a scientific theory. A scientific theory states that all evidence backs it up. In science, it's used completely different from modern or normal usage of the term. So, I wanted to get that out of the way. It is a scientific theory. It has evidence to support it. It is not a religion. It is backed up by science. There is evidence behind it. So, I wanted to make that clear. And evolution is not set in stone. People say it's a theory, it's an idea. The theory does mean a different thing in science, but there is germ theory. There is gravity theory, gravitational theory. These are all theories. All it means, nothing is set in stone in science. It is falsifiable. Nothing is fact, like fact. That's what I mean by fact. Oops. That's what I mean by fact. It's not set in stone. It's falsifiable and it's testable. So evolution is a scientific theory and it's part of science. So let's move on to the next part. Alright, so we're going to get right into it. So this is going to be one of the not so greater proofs, but something still needing to take a listen to count all of the evidence together. So we're going to look at geographical locations of animals. Now this is one of the first things that Darwin touched upon in the origin of species by means of natural selection. We know the story. He went to the Galapagos Islands, which I think this is what really got him into writing The Origin of Species. he went to the Galapagos Islands, and there were a bunch of finches traveling between these islands, and he noticed key differences between them depending on their location and where they lived. And I'm going to bring up an image of these finches. So here we go. So here we have Darwin's finches, and I want you to recognize the differences. And of course, I'm not making this as an argument, nor this is proof for macroevolution. This is only proof for microevolution, the small changes between animals, their adaptations. But here, this proves that the location of the animal or the species determines how it will evolve, right? So what if we put that on a grand scale? If evolution took place millions of years in all these different natural environments, how would that change the animals that live in it? And I think this really plays a big role, and we can show this is just a small scale version that we can see, but when you spread that out, we can see that this is also large scale. When you take billions of years in evolution in these natural environments, we get a larger picture. So let me show you. So after looking at Darwin's finches, we can see that that a species environment affects its adaptations. Now if we take that and put it into a bigger account, like I said before, and we put that across the globe and add thousands and millions of years to it. So we've actually looked at a little bit of biogeography, and that's what biogeography is. So biogeography is a geographic, it explains the geographic distribution of organisms on the planet. So certain organisms are located only on certain parts of the world, and in that parts of the world they fit their environment. So, and that's what we saw with the finches. So I want to discuss marsupials. Marsupials are a type of mammal that, and they're not located on the mainland. Actually, they are in South America. So, but they're also mostly located in Australia. Marsupials are a type of mammal that gives birth to underdeveloped offspring, and they keep them around in a pouch, and that's how they care for their offspring. So they are located in very few areas around the globe, and that is Australia and South America. That's pretty much. There's actually one species in North America, and that is the possum. So if you believe in the flood, you have to believe that, and the creation story, that after the ark landed somewhere around the Middle East near Turkey, I believe is the story, the animals were released, and they all distributed. They knew where to go. They took very long trips to where they needed to be, that fit their environment very well, that had the food they need, the climate that they were designed for, but they had to travel far to the locations. They just expanded and went everywhere they needed to go. Every animal knew which way to go, how to get there, and they swam vast distances just to get, like marsupials would have to swim and navigate islands to get over to Australia. You have to believe that is what occurred. So there are a lot of creationists that claim that they made this migration when there was Pangea. Pangea is when the land masses of Earth were lumped together. But here, if they do still believe and take into account the 6,000 year period, there is no explanation for how fast Pangea spread into the world the way we know it today. There is no explanation of that. There's no way. Even if so, that did occur. There is no way the marsupials could even make that journey. They would die. And of course, in the other journey, they would have died as well. There's no way. Marsupials, there are some animals like there's smaller marsupials that need a certain environment to live in. They would have died on this journey. And even though there is a path here, there is no water, they wouldn't have had to swim across. and they would have been able to make it. There's also another claim that the Earth didn't change that much. This is actually the most commonplace thing, that the Earth doesn't change much since the flood, post-flood. That there was a ice age right after the flood, and they used that. They also say that since there's placentas as well, and mammals are actually apparently faster than placentas, they got there first, and they left placentas behind, and they weren't able to make it to Australia. So there's no way this journey could have been made. There is also no fossil evidence that claims. There is only fossils only show where the marsupials are actually located. So fossils are found where their habitat is. So they're found around Australia, South America, and other localized places. So, given the fact that there is no evidence for a migration, there is no possible way that this migration could have been made. They wouldn't have survived, since they all show certain adaptations for their environment in which they are located in modern day. Since they all are equipped for this environment, and we see these are not the only type of animals we see that are spread like this. Marsupials aren't the only ones that have a certain location they are bound to. There's other species as well, but isn't it simpler to say than to make these outrageous claims that there was a huge migration of animals to go to their certain destinations appointed by God, that they just evolved in their environment, that when they made the split from their common ancestor, they began to evolve or adapt in their environment, and adding those years, boom, here we are. That would explain what the fossil record shows. That would explain their natural traits for that environment. There would be no claims like this. So, honestly, there's not many more points that I can make other than that. It's virtually impossible. But I found an article that kind of shows you what creationists have to prove, and it's some very good points. So, after the ark landed, why were almost all the animals that ended up in Australia marsupials and monotromes? They made the claim that they were faster. They made it there before placentae. If scores of marsupials could somehow make the journey, why do virtually no placentae do the same? Apparently they did. According to them, they just didn't make it there. There's no fossil evidence that proves that either. How did animals such as koalas that are slow-moving and depend on very specific foodstuffs and environments that would have been sorely lacking after the flood even survive the required long journey, especially with a major ocean barrier? No clue. I don't know. There's no way. I don't think they can explain that. And there's, like I keep saying, there's virtually no evidence that there was a migration of this sort, and I don't know. How did animals like the flightless kiwi, the blind marsupial mole, which lives only in sand, or the sugar glider, a gliding marsupial specifically resembling flying squirrels which live in trees, make the incredible trip? I think the ocean barrier just ends it. No possible way. There's no fossil record. There's no fossil proof. And this is a very good point. This is not exactly the biggest proof of evolution, and this itself was mostly targeting it's more of evolution as being a counter to creation. And this is I'm going to start off very simple, things that are not the biggest proofs of evolution, but we're going to work our way up. So I think this is actually really good. This is honestly, I think this specifically doesn't prove evolution. It does say that evolution is a much better claim than creation, but we'll get into the proofs of evolution soon, and we're about to move on to part 2. So, here we go.